so I'm going to start off with creating a new account or a new store, a new merchant. Okay, so go over here. We're in the reseller portal. It's this easy. Now we're going to go ahead and click on Add New, and we'll just name this New Store Test. Oh, sorry about that. It'll generate a unique ID. I'll put my name on there. This actually doesn't do anything. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add. You have to add both the POS admin and also the store admin. That's really important. You have to create a different user email. So I'll just do something like Caesar.R101 Sound. And I'll just do our typical one is welcome one. Exclamation point with welcome and a capital W. Welcome, the number 1, exclamation point. Oh, sorry. First name is me. Last name is me. Okay. You can do, in case you're doing like a DBA, you have a different store name. These are all optional. You don't have to fill any of these out. You know, the hours, the country, the address, and all that stuff is really optional. Okay, so we go ahead and create the store, and it automatically will pull up the wizard. Okay, we're not going to email this because it doesn't exist, so we're going to get an error message anyway. All right, so we'll welcome to the wizard. Go to store setting. Just follow a few things on here, right? Well, first of all, our system does support cash discounts, so as you can see, that's the first thing that comes up with, or if you're going to do cash back. Okay. If you're going to do the upcharge, which is charging for using a credit card, remember there's a limit of 3%. So if you're going to do anything beyond that, I would do the cash discount. Okay. Which would be whatever above 3%. So 0.35. I think that's it. No, I think it's 3.5 here. 3.5. No, yeah. So that's the decimal version. Okay. So this would be 3.5% discount. Okay. I'm going to save and close that. Okay. All right. You're going to go to. Actually, should go back to. We're going to go back to the payment methods here, right? All right, so we go to payment methods. You need to go ahead and choose or activate whatever payment methods are going to be accepting on here. All right, so give it 1 second here. Should be giving me, okay, come on. There we go. So if you're going to do EBT, make sure, of course, that that you've activated that ability here. Okay, you can create an account. We're going to go ahead and collapse this so you can see everything here. That's for credit. Check if you're going to accept checks. Okay, you would activate here. Okay. Obviously, credit card. Okay. So here's credit. You say yes. Active. Okay. And that should be it. Cash, obviously, and you can create your own a custom like Venmo and things like that form of payments. I think you got some here. Should have some here. Venmo. There we go. Okay. All right. But these are for specific. You have to actually create them on the terminal. All right. And you go ahead and go to the next step, which would be adding a device. Now, if you have the actual terminal information, you click on Add New, and you choose your store. Of course, it would be the new store test, right? You choose whatever model you're using, E700, the serial number, and that'll become the serial ID. Now, this isn't a real serial number, so we're not actually going to do that. You choose retail. You save and close, and then there's something you need to do later on, but with that you would finish it. In this case, because that one doesn't exist, we're not going to save it and close. All right. We're going to go to store logo, so you can upload different logos. Click on add new. Make sure that, it's not very big in size. All right. So this refers to pixels. Okay, I do have some logos already on here. I'm actually going to go up here. And we're going to use the color logo here. Okay. Save and close. Oh, sorry, we got to choose a store. New store test. Save and close. All right, and you want to make sure you mark it as a logo. Okay. All right, perfect. So you'll see that on the terminal and everything else. Then you go to the receipt. You can set up your receipt here, and let me go ahead and collapse this again. You can put your header. All right, new store, welcome, new welcome. You can choose where you want it to align it in the middle of the receipt. Okay, you got a second new store. Your footer, of course. Thank you. Come again. Whatever you'd like, and again, you can align whatever you like. You can add a logo. Of course, we recommend you do your black and white logo. Okay, again, be careful with the actual resolution. Okay, whether you want to have a barcode, you need to decide whether you want to have a tip line on the receipt, or you want a tip on the actual terminal payment. Whether they're going to be able to send email or not, how many copies, your font size, okay, spacing, and you can also have templates on here. All right, you go ahead and save and close that. Okay, now you get your receipt, it's all set up. All right, now we're going to go to taxes. So the way that taxes work is that you've got different tax rates, which you can customize. So let's go to the tax one. So you name it whatever you like. Let's say local. Okay, you put your percentage on here. Let's say it's 1.5%. Okay, you update that. Then you go to the second tax rate. You say you've got state. You can create as many as you like, no limit. And I say that one's 2%. Okay, you update that one. Let me collapse this one here. And then you go to this last one here. You can do federal. Okay, federal sales tax. You can do that at 3%. And like I said, you can add more. You can have of course, name, specialty tax. It's 5%. You save and close. Okay. And then you go to tax categories where you're going to actually combine these taxes, all right? So you go to edit for your tax standard. You got your local, which you're going to activate, your state, and your federal sales tax. And then you can create, so let me show you this here. All right, so you can choose, let me collapse here. You can choose the order if you want to change it. You want to choose if you want to tax on the previous tax amount. So we save and close that one. But now we're going to go ahead and create a secondary, okay, which would be specialty. So again, we go to the store, specialty, tax, okay. It's not default, obviously. We save and close. Oh, we're going to add federal and the specialty tax. That's it. You save and close. Okay. So now you got two tax rates here. Excuse me. Now you go to categories. You can add categories right here on the spot. Okay. Or you can import using a categories template, which I'll show you later on. We're actually going to import that. Same thing with the attributes, modify groups, as well as products. You can actually create products here, but again, we're going to show you that using an import later on. And as far as your roles, the system will go ahead and will default, the operator and the administrator role. Okay, and same thing with the POS users. Okay, you can create additional roles as well here. Okay. And then whoever has access to the store itself, you can create more roles over here and you finish. All right, so you're pretty much done with the store. So now you can go into the store and start doing some additional, some customizing, right? So we're going to go ahead and choose the new store, search. Sure, we can log in. Now normally the actual store owner, the merchant, will receive an email, right? This is from somebody's going in there from the company, right? So the first thing I want to show you here is how you can add items through doing an inventory upload or an import. You can't do this at the reseller level. You have to do it at the actual store level. Okay. So you go to catalog, and there's a certain order you need to follow because you can't add products before you add categories, for example. So we're going to keep it simple here. If you have something a little more complex, you can actually go into the user guide. It'll give you more detail. But just to keep it simple here, you want to first upload your categories. So you've got this import button here under categories that you don't have under the reseller. Right? When you go to catalog and categories, you don't have an import button there. So you do have it at the store level. And this is where you can actually download your templates. You get some templates with data. In our case, we already have the file made. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use, we're going to use a different store here. We're going to use auto parts and service. So we're going to upload categories. You choose that file. Okay. You say yes. Your categories have been imported successfully. So now you've got a list of categories list on here. And then you can go into your products. Okay. Now, very important is there's certain things you need to already have under your products. And let's take a look at that file here. Sales, demos, and store file. So it's the auto parts service, right? So if we look at the products file, right, which is a template that we provide again. Come on, bring that up. There we go. So as we look at the products file, there's certain things that have to be in place, otherwise you're going to get an error message. So for example, you know, you have to have the tax category already created, your tax standard. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message. Okay. And you can verify. You saw how we created that during the actual store wizard creation, right? But you can verify it here. You know, what are your tax categories, and which one is a default? Actually, you know, that's one thing I forgot to do. I actually never set this as the default. You want to make sure you set one of the two as a default. Okay. So when you create a new product, you're going to see that on there. All right, so we're going to go back, and now we're going to ready to import the actual products. Let me go ahead and close out that file. It doesn't import the file if it's open. Okay. All right. So you go back to products. You go to import, and again, we can provide you with a template with sample data. Okay. But in this case, I've already got my template, which is auto parts products. Add on here. Boom. You get the message telling you that it's been loaded. So now you're going to have access to these items on your terminal. Okay. Now, as far as reporting, we're going to go back to the reseller and choose a different store, since it's, you know, we don't have any transactions obviously with the store that we just created. We're going to choose one that I use with pretty much a lot of frequency, which is called the micromark. So we're going to go in there. So you've got two different sets of reports. Okay, you've got reports that are on the terminal itself and reports that are on the web portal. So I would say the ones on the web portal are the more extensive ones. You can get reports from your inventory. You go to products, actually export here. You can export your inventory sales and totals. But the main bulk of your reports are listed on the report section. You've got some pre-established reports like your best sellers. You can go back, you know, let's say you go back to September 15th. It's a little more extensive here as far as your resellers. Your low stock reports, which is usually up to date. Products that are never purchased, again, you can do a broader range. And then if you do email reports, it'll have a list of your email reports on here. And you have to actually register the emails, okay? So I want to show you what email got registered on here. Okay. So, but the bulk of the reports are here on the transactions, which is sort of a dashboard. We're going to go back a couple of months. Actually, going to go back to August 1st through October 30th. Okay, there we go. We got bulk of our transactions here. You can view any of these transactions. The nice thing about it is, you can actually see the receipt. If you need to resend the receipt, when we have an email of our receipts, we actually email a PDF file. We don't email a link. So you can see the actual receipt. If you do signature capture, you would actually see it on here as well. Okay. All right. You can also see what was purchased in detail. Okay. For the transaction, any add-ons and things like that. And then you can see your payment information. Not the actual credit card information if it was credit, but just the fact that it was how it was paid. Okay, so, but going back to the actual report page, the dashboard I mentioned, the bulk of your reports are listed here on the export, and you've got two versions for each one of them. So you've got your transactions, payments, categories, customer, employee, tax, and tips, and they both come in, and they all come in detailed and totals version. So just to show you on the transaction side, difference between a detailed and a, we have to go forward a little bit more here. Let's go to September 1st. Okay. So on the detail side, you'll see everything that was purchased per transaction, even if it wasn't, it didn't generate any revenue. It was just an add-on, like you see it on here. Okay. On the total one is actually more summarized, one line per transaction. Still gives you detailed information about payment, discounts, and things like that, taxes, but it doesn't give you detail what was purchased. Okay, that was a single transaction. Oh, shoot! Sorry, just shut down by mistake. Okay. All right. Just go back to the store and we'll continue exactly where I left off. Sorry about that. Now, if you want a version of a report that's a bit more that can't be modified, then you have the same version of these reports under the PDF, so you can send your transaction totals in PDF format. This way, the file can't be modified. Okay. And then you've got a set of reports, and let me do it on here. You have a set of reports that are on the actual terminal. And I shut this down, so give me 1 second to pull it up. So we're going to look at the terminal screens. Actually, this is an E700 terminal. Okay. Let me just zoom back out. This is at the bottom. E700. All right. Accept it on this side. And let me zoom in so you can see a little better. All right. So on the terminal itself, you got this your actual reports listed on here. Okay. But it's a different set of reports. And then obviously, if you want to print, these will print on the actual printer paper. The actual receipt paper. Okay, so you've got transaction reports if you want to look at. Okay. You can do a query. Okay, you got your employee sales report. I'm going to do a query there. Okay, you can look for different dates and so forth. So different set of reports on here. Okay. Now, as far as activating the cash discount that I mentioned before, let's go back to the actual web portal here. Okay, this needs to be activated, as you saw when we were doing the install. It needs to be activated at the reseller level. So we're going to go in at the reseller level. Okay, and this one has a cash discount of 5%. Okay, now when you do a cash discount, excuse me, you also have to change the pricing for the items. Okay, now we're in the process of making a change as far as the way that the people set this up. But for now, you have to manually change your pricing on the items. For that, you would need some rates. You would need kind of a table, okay, as far as what discount you want to give. So this is the cash discount you want to give. This is how much you need to raise your prices by. So if I'm going to give a 5% cash discount, as I have it set up here, I actually need to raise my prices by 5.26%. And to raise my prices, I have to go back to the terminal. Oh, sorry. Let me log back in here. Kick me out. And to change the pricing on my items at 5.26%. For now, I have to use a function on the terminal, okay, which is under the maintenance screen. And it's this global price change function. So you'd have to go in there. You'd have to choose to change the pricing for all items. You have to choose adjust price. And you want to increase by percentage and then choose that 5.26%. And submit, and that would change your whole inventory pricing to 5.26%. And you would need to do that every time you add a new item, even manually. You have to add the item at that price. Okay. Now, because we have this activated, and by the way, once you activate the cash discount on the terminal, each terminal you have to go to your settings screen, and you have to go to your pay method, and you have to make sure that you activate or you enable cash discount on here. Okay. If not, it's still, even though you've activated at the store level, it will not be active at that terminal. Okay. Once you activate cash discount, you can see dual pricing displayed on the menu for all the items. Everything is actually dual priced. And as you're ringing things up, for example, you do the shirt, the customer is going to see on their side of the screen, I can't see it on here obviously, but their customer is going to see on their side of the screen the dual pricing. Okay. Well, now when they go to pay, it's going to default to the cash price, which is what the customer would see once they choose. They're still seeing the dual pricing on the other side, but once they tell the clerk how they're going to pay, and the default's to cash, if they change the credit, then they're actually going to see the credit card price on their side. Okay. We're going to go back to cash, make the payment, and then the receipt will actually display. I'm not going to email a receipt or anything like that. But if we go back to the store, we go back to the transactions, and we should see, give me 1 second here, we should see that transaction here. Right? we should see the cash discount listed on the receipt. Let's take a look at the receipt. Okay, you see the cash discount for the item, and you'll see the cash discount again for total in case you've got multiple items listed on there. Okay. The other thing that we're offering now is the ability to do tobacco rebates. So that's something that you need again to activate at the vendor level, at the reseller level. You got this tab here, and you'd have to set up a retail control number. There's a whole process for that, where the retailer needs to contact the Atria contractor or salesperson, and they have to fill out a form, kind of a process to get that retail control number, and then they provide it to us, and we provide it to MConnect, and then we'll be able to have tobacco rebate on here. And the advantage of that obviously is that you're able to sell tobacco products. When we look on here, we'll go ahead and choose a customer who's of age. Let's grab customer. So what happens is when you sell tobacco products, we have it activated for the store. Okay, they're of age. Go to pay. It's going to ask you whether you want to, when the customer wants to take advantage of the discount or not. Okay. So the customer gets a discount, and the retailer actually gets that money back from the vendor. Okay. So that's the tobacco discount. And then if you want to add products, you have a couple ways you can do it. You can do it at the store level. Just go to the catalog, products. You choose, all right, let's go ahead and add a product here. Okay, test product. Got a couple of those here, so say test product 5. You can put additional description here, short name. Choose a category, or you can leave none. Okay, we'll do groceries. All right, you can choose a display order or leave it blank. It'll do it automatic. You can arrange your menus in different ways. If you've got a barcode, you can scan it here or just type in the number, a secondary barcode or identifier. This is set up for the tobacco rebate process. You can also choose to sell an item by weight or pretty much any unit, because once you activate this and you set the unit here, it doesn't have to be a weight unit. It could be length, it could be volume, and that's what's going to print out on the receipt. 5 inches, 5 ounces, 5 quarts, whatever that may be. All right. We give you the option to enable it on the POS. So if you run out of an item, you can disable it so it doesn't show up on the POS for the time being, but you don't delete it from the actual database. And also you want it to show on the menu or not in case it's like an ingredient, like a modifier, because you actually create the modifiers using the same screen. Then as far as pricing is concerned, you type on here, the price that you charge. And then you choose the tax category. For this store, we only have tax standard, but if you did have like the 2 tax categories as we created with the other store, you can choose a different tax category for the item here. And then you actually choose, how much it costs you. And the system will calculate your profit and your gross margin. Then you choose your inventory method. You can either track inventory, not track inventory, or you can also track inventory by attributes like the size or the color. You can even have an attribute matrix, combination of size and color. And then if you do choose to track inventory through here, this is where you would input your initial inventory amount and your threshold, so it comes up on the low inventory report that we saw previously. If it is a modifier, meaning an ingredient, this is where you choose if it is a modifier or not. Okay. If you want to add modifiers, this is where you would add the modifiers. And we do have some modifiers to choose from. You can choose individual modifiers, or you can actually choose modifier groups as well. Okay. You save that here. And if you have any additional printers, you can choose. It'll default to the built-in printer for the terminals. All of our terminals come with built-in printers. But if you have any additional printers you wanted to go to, this is where you would choose a kitchen printer and things like that. If it is a restricted age product, you'd activate it here. Your store can have a global restricted age for both employee and customer, but you can actually modify it for each individual product as well. Okay, once you save that here, you can go ahead and go into your picture. You can upload a picture on here. Again, just be careful with the resolution. Make sure it's no larger than 1 megabyte in size. We're gonna go ahead and store, and let's go to the Fresh Bakery, and I've got some logos on here, some product icons. All right, it's gonna be a cookie. All right, and then you can add some attributes like, and I don't know, baked, fried, whatever you want, and that can change the pricing. Or you can even, as I said, let's see, we've got some attributes here you can choose from. Rebook special instructions as well. Got different stuff on here, but again, this is where you would add a price, a modifier, things like that. I mean, modifier, not exactly, but an attribute, which is you have to choose one of these. All right, so that's how you would add a product here. You also have the option to add a product on the terminal. Probably logged out already. Yeah, it did. So let me log back in. I'll show you where to add a product here. Okay. All right, so here you would add a product. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel this out. Just void everything here. Get a cart. And where you would actually create, add a product would be under inventory and products. Okay. You just click on the add button. You have kind of the same stuff here that you would have on the other side. The item name, product vendor, if you want to track inventory or not, whether it's CBT eligible, restricted age, all the same stuff that you have on the other side, you would have it here as well. So you have the option to add the stuff here as well, your SKU, modify a group, and things like that, attributes and things like that as well. All right. So now if you're looking at actually like add existing products to your inventory, the way you want to do it is you want to use this inventory movement option here, and you add your inventory through here because that registers it on a report. If you do it manually, like going into the actual product screen and modifying it there, then it doesn't report that. But doing it through here, it actually adds it to a report, any inventory movements. And then finally, talking about employee management, a couple of things. You can create different employee roles. You go to maintenance, and in these roles, you actually restrict what employees have access to. So you can do it on the terminals themselves. So I've got 5 different roles here for the the store. This basic tab is for your sales stuff, as you can see, open cash drawer, things like that. And then the authority tab is more for detailed stuff, like which reports you want to have access to. Okay, you can see all the reports here. Some admin stuff. Okay, like customer inventory access. Okay, being able to, add products and things like that. Maintenance and things like that. Okay. You create the role, and then you actually hire the employee or the user. And this is where you can activate whether the user needs to clock in and log in. You can even take a picture of the user if you like, using the camera that's built into the terminals. You see it's got a barcode, you can print it here. But you can also do all of this stuff on the web portal, which is what I want to show you now. Now we're going to go back to the web portal, and we're going to go to your employee maintenance. All right, so this is where you would create your roles, right, as you did on the other side. You got the different authority stuff here. You got your register here, sales reports, what you can do, admin, all that good stuff, and your system stuff. And same thing, once you create the role, you go to the users and you can add the users here. Okay, so this is where, again, If you have a restricted age, it's going to ask you to input the employee's birthday to make sure that they're old enough as far as what you established. On the store side, on the web portal side, you've got hourly wage, but it doesn't do anything as far as calculating. Like our system doesn't do payroll. Right? You saw where you can print out your barcode on the terminal. You can also print out your barcode here, just to generate and download POS user barcodes. So these you can print onto a label and then stick it onto a badge, employee badge or something like that. Okay. Now, if you want to control your hours, you've got your time card stuff here. You can export your time card. Last 90 days. Export. Okay, it's an Excel file. 1 second here. Okay, you can see how many hour totals they've worked. Okay. And then you've got, of course, on the terminal itself, you've got your time clock, which again, the time clock, the time card function rather, you don't have to log out in order to activate that. Okay. So I can be logged in to use the cash register, and somebody from inventory comes in, from the warehouse comes in, and they want to clock in. I have to actually log out. I just go into this function under my profile, and they actually clock in. So even though I'm logged in as the administrator, I'm going to have the inventory person clock in. And if they have a badge, you can actually just scan it here. Okay, so they're going to clock in, and it tells you, okay, stock rep, you're clocked in. Boom. Okay, and now you can go back and continue to do whatever it is that you were doing in sales. And you're still doing it as the admin. Okay. So you can see I've got the admin listed down here. User still admin. All right. So with that, pretty much we're set.